Greetings, University Liggett School community. Happy Friday, April 17th. It's Bart Bronk, head of school, and I hope this video, as always, finds you well and finds you safe in a week in which Mother Nature kicked us while we were down. Yes, the winter weather, the snow, the gray skies, the cold temperatures, entirely disappointing and depressing. However, I'm heartened by the fact that certainly on campus, our daffodils have bloomed, and all around Grosse Pointe, the dogwoods have started to bloom this week. So we know that spring is resilient. And spring is determined, and the temperatures that we deserve and that we imagine are coming soon. So hang in there amid a weekend, which looks like we could see some more snow. I begin each week with a contemplation and recognition of groups that are in my heart and on my mind. I've certainly spoken at length about our senior class of 2020 and the recognition and celebration that they deserve, that we hope we can provide in the weeks ahead. This week, I'm also thinking about two other groups that are leadership groups within the University Liggett School community and also deserve, I think, recognition and celebration. Our brilliant and enthusiastic fifth graders from the University Liggett School class of 2027, and our talented and hilarious eighth graders from the University Liggett School class of 2024. They have had a season of celebration and transition to middle school and to upper school, respectively, changed and limited in some ways by this challenge that we're all facing. So eighth graders and fifth graders, my wonderful friends, know that I'm thinking of you and I love you and I support you. And I know that Mrs. Detlinger and Mr. Butler are going to do everything that they can to celebrate you and your successful completion of lower school and middle school in all the ways that you deserve. You're definitely on my mind. We've reached the end of week 3 of online learning. Another good week. I really appreciate the feedback that we've received from parents and students in our surveys. The survey remains open. It's linked in this week's email. I would love you to give us feedback if you haven't already. Today, we're going to close that survey at the end of the day and start looking ahead to a new survey at the midpoint of our experience next week. But really appreciate the robust kinds of feedback that you've given us that helps us improve our practice as we continue to learn and grow together online. March was National Reading Month. We typically celebrate that in April at University Liggett School just because March is so shortened by our spring break. And so there's lots of celebrations of reading, particularly in the lower school, and the practice of reading. And it seems to me that this is a season in which we can reconnect with reading powerfully for a couple of reasons. One is we have lots more time on our hands suddenly, and I think about my own life and the amount of time I normally devote to my Philadelphia Phillies and watching them on TV during April, typically, and the time that I have back. Also because reading allows us to escape our current reality, and maybe right now that reality feels a little more dreary than normal. And so reading is not only a wonderful escape of a dreary reality, I think it also helps us understand a reality in different ways. So we both escape from reality, but maybe gain a greater understanding of our experience. And so in this message this week, I'd like to celebrate National Reading Month and the spirit of reading by sharing what I'm reading right now. Now, I'm a reader who reads many books at one time, and it's just what I do, and it drives my family crazy because my shelf and my nightstand are covered in books. But I tend to read in sort of categories. So I've got my guilty pleasure fiction, Game of Thrones book 3, that I'm currently reading. I tend to read a professional development book, Stories That Stick. This is a wonderful book about the ways in which storytelling can inform leadership, and those of you that know me know that I love to tell a good story. Fascinating nonfiction is a category I like to be reading at all times. This is a book called Mudlarking, which is about this group of hobbyists that scour the banks of the Thames River in London to find stuff that was dumped into the Thames over the last thousands of years. Roman pottery. That fascinates me also because I once dropped a credit card in the River Thames moments after arriving in London. And I like the idea of somebody 2,000 years from now finding that credit card and maybe writing a book about it. And then finally, I always try to make time for what I consider sort of literary classics. And right now, I'm reading a book called The Fixer by Bernard Malamud. You may know Malamud from his book The Natural, which I'm teaching right now in baseball literature. Became the movie with Robert Redford. Malamud won the Pulitzer Prize for The Fixer, which is, quickly the story of someone who is persecuted unjustly. And the notion of the book is really that we appreciate freedom most in moments in which it is unjustly taken away from us. And so I think that perhaps is a poignant message for me and for all of us right now. So that's what I'm reading. I encourage you to share what you're reading. Maybe make this a weekend of reading. Share your current reading on ULS Connect using the hashtag ULS Connect. And if you're interested, you can even go to a special Facebook page that Mike Medvinsky created called University Liggett School Learners Read, and share video of you reading, perhaps picture books that we can celebrate as a community. But find some time to reconnect with a great book this weekend, escape maybe the current challenges that we're experiencing, and also develop a greater appreciation for what we all have. Until next week, I wish you a wonderful weekend, and as always, health, safety, and joy in each other's company.